Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Mark 1 Tower, this is Albatross 1-3, requesting permission to land, over.
I don't need a computer to tell me how to land a damn airplane.
6.
Heads-up display, check.
5,
Lasers, check.
4,
Particle beam, check.
3,
Photon bolts, check.
2,
Chair control, check.
1.
Let's do it.
Broadcasting from a secret underground location somewhere in Mos Eisley. This is the Docking Bay 77 podcast. Make yourself comfortable. The show is about to start.
And welcome to Docking Bay 77. That's right. I'm not Dayton. I'm the better host. It's John. Disney John's here to go ahead and bring you some Disney treats, although it's not a Disney movie, I am sad to say. However, I did bring some very cheery people with me. I've got Eric Dearth. Eric, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good. We got 2 hypermobile cells coming in with up downs and downdrafts 40 miles south of Wakita, and we are ready to roll.
You got to watch the wall cloud, though, buddy. Watch the wall cloud. Dana, first time with me online, so this is great. It's nice to meet you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, and I think everyone needs to go ahead and get in the storage cellar too.
Absolutely. Hold on to that daggum pipe. And we also have our only person who has their own actual hashtag Team Amber. How you doing tonight, my Amber? How are you?
I've got my white tank top on and I am ready to go.
I saw that. I was like, yes. I love it when people come dressed for this. I know that nobody gets to see us, but I love the extra effort. It makes me smile all the time. All right, so tonight we are talking about one, I think, for me personally, one of my top all-time disaster movies, Twister, with Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton.
Storm chasers. So let's go. All right, we're moving.
Scientists have been studying tornadoes forever, but still nobody knows how a tornado works.
We have touchdown. Tornado is on the ground.
Woo-hoo! It's the wonder of nature, baby!
These sensors take scientific measurements.
You gotta get in front of the tornado and put it in the damage path.
You've got to get further ahead of it.
I know what I'm doing.
Have you lost your nerve?
Tighten your seatbelt.
It's at 2 o'clock. It's heading this way.
This storm's gonna be a lot bigger than we anticipated.
Cow.
I gotta go, Julia. We got cows.
That was a good size twister. What was that, an F3?
They're in the barricade!
Is there an F5?
Joe, you're too close! Oh. It's not gonna work! Get out of there! It's headed right for us! Get out, look out!
Where'd you get all this beef?
Did you see my cows out front?
No.
Oh.
We're back. So I'd like to get everybody's opening thoughts. Like when you first saw it, what do you think about it? Like maybe when you first saw it and to today. Eric, let's start with you.
I think I saw this in the theater. I think I saw it at the Dollar Theater in the Middletown where we all had college together. I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theater. I don't know if I saw it on the first run, but I know I at least saw it in the Dollar Theater and probably watched it once or twice because I thought it was, as an action movie, I thought it was great. I also remember Universal Studios' The Twister ride. I don't know if that's still there, but that was back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it actually stopped running in 2017, I think it was.
I do remember that. So I think my first memory of this movie was actually in the theater.
Oh, nice. Dana, how about you? When did you first see or experience the greatness that is Twister?
It had to have been on HBO one time because when it came out, didn't have my license yet, so I couldn't go to the movies as often as I wanted to. And I was at a point where, both my parents work, so I was kind of that do your own thing kind of kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that it was one of those movies that if it was on cable, I stopped to watch it.
Oh yeah, 100. Oh man, yeah, that's wow, that's awesome. So Amber, how about you?
Well, I always have a story.
And I love
So
it.
my mom grew up on a farm. So I don't understand people that when it's storming, don't go outside on the porch to like watch the sky and see what's going on and listen to the weather report, but you're still kind of looking on your own and gathering your own information. Like if you don't do that, I just don't understand you. So that was how I was raised. And we had a healthy amount of tornadoes in this area,
Yeah.
throughout my lifetime. So, learned how to kind of watch the sky and what to look for and when to be concerned and when like, okay, we really need to go to the basement. So my mom like is all about the Weather Channel and to this day. So we were there opening weekend, like she could not wait. We were like, I think I bought this for her for Mother's Day when it came out on DVD. Like
Nice.
it's on heavy rotation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually remember seeing this for the first time in theaters as well. I was in the military, and this was like it came out in '96, and that was right around the time that I was coming off ship to go to shore duty. So there's probably a lag time somewhere in there, but I definitely saw it during its first release at some point. And it was so good. And I mean, and some of the stuff in there, I feel like Midwesterners or people in Tornado Alley would get, like when they mentioned the green sky, like, oh, we're going green. I was like, oh my God, yeah. Because unless you lived through it, you don't know what that means. People are probably going, I don't even understand what that means. I'm like, oh,
I know.
shit,
I was thinking about that today as I watched it for the like, I don't know, sixth or seventh time this week. I was like, I want to like meet somebody that really was new to this whole concept. Like, like I remember when we moved to New Mexico, we didn't have a basement and we were freaked out.
Freaking out, right? So,
and my dad's like, we're at 7,000 feet. A tornado could not possibly get us. And it still was terrifying.
I moved to Chincoteague Island. Our first night there, or our first day there, a tornado siren goes off. We're like, what the hell? I mean, it's sun shining out. I mean, it's beach weather. There's breeze coming in off the ocean. I mean, it was great. We're like, what the hell is this? The next day I go into work and I ask my shipmates, I'm like, hey guys, what is that? Why'd the tornado siren go off? Like, oh, you're a Midwesterner. That's the volunteer fire department call. And I was like, I never got used to it in the 3 years that I lived there. Every time that went off, there was a visceral reaction in my body.
Right, you're like
that I was
under
like,
your desk.
Yeah, I was like, huh? So yeah, I think Midwesterners get it the best, I think. But
yes.
Oh my gosh. So now we're gonna go on to a fun part that we call That's the Fact, Jack.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
Dana, what do you have for us on a brief production history?
No, so this was an interesting movie from like putting it together from pitch to post production. So the original pitch wasn't a script like most movies are, but it was actually like a CG scene of a truck driving towards a tornado. So that actually got the attention of Amblin Entertainment to produce the movie with Warner Brothers attached and Universal. Warner Brothers getting domestic rights, Universal getting the international rights. Spielberg himself was originally considered to direct it, but he opted not to. But other directors like James Cameron, John Badham, Robert Zemeckis, and Tim Burton, they were all actually in talks for it. But actually, Jan de Bont got the job after Spielberg invited him personally when he saw de Bont's first movie, Speed, in '94.
That was a good movie too. I didn't realize he did that one.
Yeah, that was actually his first feature film as well. Screenplay by, surprisingly, Michael Crichton and his then wife, Anne Marie Martin. And those of you who may not remember, Michael Crichton, obviously, biggest title, Jurassic Park.
Amazing.
So he and his wife did the initial screenplay, which Crichton said he took inspiration from a PBS documentary on tornadoes and the rom-com His Girl Friday. In filming, DeBont wanted the movie to feel high energy, excitement, and adrenaline rush, very similar to real storm chasers, how they describe their experiences. The filming had several bumps and revisions on it. During the initial revisions, Joss Whedon, he did some rewrites on it, but he actually stopped and had to drop out because he got bronchitis. He left for a little bit and came back and dropped out a second time because he was getting married.
Oh, jeez.
Then filming actually halted completely due to the Oklahoma City bombing on April 19th of 95. It was because the cast and crew were actually working with the relief efforts there. During it, the Warner Brothers and Universal were actually pushing him to work on like sound stages, and DeBont insisted on filming on location, stating that Twister could be the last great action movie not shot on a soundstage.
Wow.
Well,
okay.
That plays into this one here. Not being on a soundstage, weather doesn't like to cooperate often, and many of the days they filmed were bright, sunny outside, so he wanted overcast. So Industrial Light and Magic had to step in and CG darken the skies.
Oh my gosh.
They also came in, and the tornadoes, obviously, you can't make a tornado happen in nature. So they used CG as well, using particle animation to start and build on the design of the tornadoes.
Which were very good, I think.
Yeah, I think it still holds up today. I mean, it's a little dated, but on my rewatch, I felt like it held up.
Yeah. Even the cow.
Out of every one of the tornadoes that I saw on there, I could only really one of them looked not as polished as the rest.
Right.
So that says a lot for what, 94, 95, 96.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amber, you got anything for us?
Well, what I have for our listeners is a little bit of trivia. So when you go to trivia night down at the pub, you'll have some tidbits in case this movie comes up.
Perfect.
First of all, the story takes place over a single 24 hours, during which we see 8 tornadoes.
Oh my.
A recording of a camel's groan was slowed down and used as the sound of the tornado, which I listened today. I didn't hear it.
Well, I hear the growling. I hear that it sounds hungry, right? Every time that the Twister comes by, it sounds like. I'm like, I wonder how they made that. Like, did somebody take a real? So it's a slowed down camel sound.
So yeah, they got a camel. Like, they're always making tons of noise. They're very noisy animals. A jet engine from a Boeing 707 was used to generate wind for some of the scenes.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Same thing they did for Forrest Gump, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They used a jet engine for the boat scenes when Lieutenant Van.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
When he has his showdown with.
Yes. At first, I was like, "When would you need
when
wind?"
would you do
but I
that?
forgot about that. Yeah. As Dana said, Jan de Bont wanted to use as many practical effects as he could, other than, obviously the tornadoes, which would have to be CGI.
That would be cool.
So a crane really rolled the house across the road.
Oh.
And farm equipment really was dropped using military-grade monofilament wires from a helicopter.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's some even better driving now. It's like, did they have an actual? Was that a practical effect?
Well, yeah, and there's a mistake because when I don't know what kind of farm equipment this is, but there's a big red, tractor kind of thing with a long arm coming off of it, and the arm hits the windshield of the pickup.
Yes,
and it was not supposed to do that. And then if you look later on, the windshield is intact.
Oh, yes, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Oh, sorry.
I remember that.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember it like I remember the TIE fighter going through the middle of the Millennium Falcon during one of the scenes way back when.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
We'll have to get into that later. They really did blow up an oil tanker, but the first time they did it, it was mistimed, and they had to reshoot it at a cost of $500,000.
Oh my. Oh my.
And just to finish up here, Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton actually suffered minor retinal burns from the lighting rigs that were used in the chase scenes to light the truck cabs.
Oh, oh, dang.
Because
okay.
they had to use like really bright Klieg lights to make it visible in the cab, but look darker outside.
Dark on the outside? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so they had to spend a couple of days like doing eye drops and like wearing special glasses and stuff.
Jeez,
he actually said that and I'm reading this right now. He remembers that these things literally sunburned our eyeballs.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Jesus.
I mean, how wonderful that it was temporary though. My gosh.
Right? Oh my gosh. Does anybody else have any other facts that they would like to share?
Well, I have two more fun little things.
Please. I'm so sorry. Continue.
These are I saved my favorite ones for last. So first of all, it's not that big a deal, but kind of. It's the first movie to ever be released on DVD.
What?
Yeah. And like it sounds crazy, but like something had to be the first. And
are you kidding me? This was the first DVD?
I read it on multiple sources. And then in the scene where Aunt Meg is sitting in bed, she's watching A Star is Born, not knowing that a tornado is coming at her. For a little light reading that evening, she's reading Dante's Inferno.
What? That's what she was reading?
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, that puts a whole different spin on some things because can I say that like I had to do Dante's Inferno in college and like that's not like a light bedtime reading kind of thing.
Like that's the stuff of nightmares right there.
Although it does kind of put you into the mood.
There is a tornado in it, so
well, there's a tornado in it and it kind of it's a foreshadowing of the hell that's about to be released. So
right.
I was gonna say maybe he's trying to help her go to sleep.
It's like I can't make it past purgatory.
But she gets out of her hell a lot easier than Dante did.
Well, yeah, she had two people dragging her out, so.
Yes.
Does anybody else have anything else they would like to share?
Yeah, this movie it brings back those memories of those studio competition movies. Like you had Volcano and Dante's Peak, and I clearly remember once seeing a movie on television called Tornado that was almost identical to this movie, and I don't know if this is a Mandela effect thing, but I really remember seeing that on television. It was called Tornado, and it was almost a carbon copy of this film. And I wondered if anybody else had heard of it or seen it or knows about it.
Did it have
I
Bruce
thought you were
Campbell?
Going to say Sharknado.
Does it have Bruce Campbell?
Tornado, I think.
Yeah, it's got Bruce Campbell in it because I just looked it up.
Yeah, there's one called with Bruce Campbell, Shannon Sturgis, and Ernie Hudson called Tornado. Hell hath no fury like a twister.
What a great tagline. What year was that Tornado?
96.
So we're on the same ballpark. So we're doing a Dante's Peak volcano thing going on here.
Yeah. No shit. Damn.
This was
okay.
a TV movie, so it wasn't like a big theater production like the.
Okay, good, because I remember seeing it on TV.
God, now I need to go watch this because I'm all about bad sci-fi flicks. I mean, like my family hates it. I'm like, I'm putting on bad sci-fi. Everybody, watch out! And like click, let's watch it.
I'm a big Bruce Campbell fan. And I didn't know about this one.
Right? I'm like seriously, I'm the same. I'm like, I need to see this one now. I will. Oh look, it's on Prime. Wonderful. Looks like
the whole film opens up with this giant pan and scan shot of a water tower over top of a sleepy little Kansas Midwestern village with the storm chasers. And when I saw it on TV, I'm like, well, I don't remember Twister being like this. What is this?
Yeah. Well, it does start off with an idyllic opening, which let's that might drag us into our that's totally wicked section of this part.
That was totally wicked.
Dana, what do you have? Like what's your favorite part of this movie?
So I wanted to let you guys dig into this one. So I found something very, very minute, very, very small, little nugget at the very beginning of the movie when it opens up and Joe's fiddling with the Doppler radar on top of the van. She drops an F-bomb. You barely hear it. And the only reason why I caught it is because I don't know why, for some reason, when I was watching it, my subtitles were on. I'm like, wait a minute, did she just drop an F-bomb?
Yep.
Because in the mid-90s, that was an R-rated offense in a movie, just about. And now they're dropping it like it's nothing on broadcast TV.
It's like PG-13. Yeah, go ahead, kids.
I was just watching something on Sci-Fi a week or two ago, and I counted 19 F-bombs in an hour-long TV show.
Wow.
And not bleeped one whatsoever. So I'm like, we've come a long way.
It's a cable station. They're starting to realize, they're starting to remember that cable stations don't have to abide by those particular rules. So good for them. Eric, what about this movie makes you love it?
Oh, I love the energy. I love the excitement, and I love the way the cast works together. I love that hero heroine point counterpoint relationship that Bill has with Joe, and then he's also juggling the relationship with his new fiance. But I like also the science of it. I mean, I'm not a meteorologist, but I think they did a lot of good research in the beginning to at least try to portray the science as real. So I liked that. I liked a lot of the action scenes. I have a favorite quote and a favorite scene. We'll come back to that, but I just liked the way the cast really gelled. You really felt like these were absolutely bonkers scientists who were chasing tornadoes.
Yeah, you're right, and I believe they truly sold that through the whole movie from beginning to end. It was a really fun. Amber, I'm making you laugh because I want to hear what you really like about this movie before we go into bad. And it's one of actually my favorite scenes is something to have to do with the whole crew. But for me, what I love about this movie is I think it's a great action movie. I mean, it is an action movie that people might otherwise realize is an action movie because I mean it's a natural disaster movie. We're talking tornadoes here. Now, if people have ever lived through a tornado, I can understand why they might shy away from this, but it's a good movie. I mean, it's. I thought it was well acted. I thought it was well written. I thought it was. I mean, after finding out that Michael Crichton wrote this, like the original pieces, I could see that in it now, right? Because I like Michael Crichton as a writer. I think he does a lot of good things. I don't think it portrays well.
And it didn't happen in an amusement park.
Exactly. Exactly. So for me, I'm with you, Eric. I really liked the camaraderie. I like how everybody gelled together, and it felt very real and very natural with everyone. And I enjoyed that. It's a fun movie. It's an easy watch. I mean, I watched it again today. I'm going like, I have to watch this for detail now. And by the end of it, I'm like, oh my God, here comes the tornado. Like, and I mean, it's all the same reaction. So, okay, Amber, do you like anything about this movie?
I love this movie. I can be critical of it because it's flawed, but still love it. And I agree with what you gentlemen have said for the most part.
Yeah.
But I will take this particular segment to shout out for the female characters. I thought they were really well written. I love that, our main character is a woman scientist, and she is the leader of the team. She is focused on her job. She's focused on, achieving this goal. She's leading these monkeys around and they are following her direction. She has another woman on her team, which is great. And I love Jamie Gertz's character. I love that she has her own autonomy. She's not just there as Bill's girlfriend. She's on the phone with her
clients,
patients, and she's her own person and is not intimidated by Joe. I mean, she is a little bit, but she's not intimidated enough that she can't speak up for herself.
She's just intimidated because she looks better. That's all.
Can I throw in one thing? I could not place her. I watched and I was like, I know her. She was Star from Lost Boys.
She looks a lot different than the Lost Boys.
It took me forever. I was like, oh, and then the light bulb went off.
Yep.
So I just love the fact that the dichotomy between Joe and Melissa, those two characters, they were both in their own way very strong female characters, but oil and vinegar. Oil and water, whatever words you want to use for it, they were like completely opposite of each other. And that actually made for some very, very funny one-liners or very funny like setups throughout the entire movie.
Those two
and
were
then,
very
Aunt Meg as well. She's,
Oh,
not some weak old lady. Like,
who doesn't love Aunt Meg?
she's arguing with him as they're carrying her to the ambulance. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
fine. It doesn't even hurt. It's all right.
Your car is around the corner in a tree. Like, oh. No.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
man.
say that right after she's like, "Yeah, I'll just drive myself to the hospital."
I'll drive myself to the hospital.
No,
It's fine.
your car's around the corner in a tree.
Tree. Yeah, Aunt Meg's awesome. I mean, who doesn't love Aunt Meg? I mean, seriously, like Aunt Meg. It's awesome.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
Amber, why don't you kick us off on No, Sir, I Didn't Like That? That's our next segment. I figure, okay, boys, sit back, get your drinks refilled at this point because I think Amber's about to go up. Hashtag Team Anger. Tell us why we're wrong that this is a good movie.
The script in places you can tell that there were multiple hands touching it because some of it is atrocious. Like, I can't stand big long exposition dumps, and you get one right at the beginning, and it's so cheesy and forced, and I just want to die.
Which one? Which exposition dump are you talking about?
When they're explaining to Melissa how Dorothy works.
Got it. Go ahead. Continue.
And it ends with like, that's what these guys are trying to do. Like,
I will
die.
I will agree with you about that, but like, if you had watched this movie and you didn't understand what Dorothy was supposed to do, which is kind of the whole premise of the movie, I think that exposition is okay. But the punchline of that is what I will agree with you. That doesn't need to be there, but I think the small exposition of what Dorothy is very important to the movie.
But I feel like I just hate it when they dump it. They have a character that's there solely for the purpose of being explained to, and they could have done that in a more organic way as they were setting Dorothy up or putting it together to start the day.
I got things about Dorothy, so we'll talk about that.
Well, and the other thing with the script is that there are other parts that are so good.
Yes.
Like every part in when they are chasing is awesome.
Like all the action, right?
Yeah. So you have that stuff that could just be boring driving in a car. And that stuff is really fun and engaging. And then, you get another scene that just kind of dumps flat. And then the science does not hold up. Like, they're not really explaining anything to you. They're not really telling you like how any of this information is going to give you better tornado preparedness.
Well, because they're not actually happening.
The moment that you waited for, the thing works and it dumps out a bunch of jibber jabber. Like, who the hell knows what's on that computer? Could be nothing. Could just say, it's windy in here.
You wanted a meteorologist to actually explain to you what was happening throughout this movie and then explain what those numbers meant? I mean, because to me, that's just the magical black box.
I mean, if it's just a MacGuffin, then what the hell are we doing? Like,
it's a MacGuffin.
They could have had a conversation where they say, normally when you chase a tornado, you stay like 2 miles away.
So a meteorologist explanation.
No, just a little more science. Like they did it in The Martian.
Okay, you realize that the Doppler that they used in there was actually real Doppler. Like you could actually see where the tornado was forming with the against winds, like the opposing winds.
In a perfect Pepsi swirl, yeah, I saw that.
I'm just saying. So did you need that explained to you?
The product placement that the Doppler was.
That was not a product. That was not Pepsi.
I did not.
You do realize that that's kind of what it looks like, right?
Yes, I know what it looks like.
I mean, okay.
I'm telling you, they came up with a clever way to stick the Pepsi logo on there. And I mean, props, it was clever, but
it was the Pepsi logo.
I'm having flashbacks. I'm having flashbacks of last night.
It's the
They had
Doppler
enough product
effect.
placement when they made the little propellers with all the Pepsi.
Yes.
That's the product placement.
Yeah, but the
But I'm telling you, when the tornado turned into the Pepsi logo,
It looks it's exactly what you're looking for. But you're right. John Gum should have walked onto the screen and said, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pause the movie for a moment and explain to you meteorology. What we're talking about here is an updraft going up and over, which creates a wall cloud, which then causes a fuzzle cloud. Well, then why did we care about it throughout the rest of the movie?
I mean, you got it in Jurassic Park with Mr. DNA. It was adorable, and it took 2 minutes.
It took 2 minutes in the movie
there are
too.
ways you can do it and introduce the science.
I thought they did.
What?
I thought they did. I thought that's exactly what they did. They introduced it with a character that just did. You just don't like exposition, but what they did was, I thought, exactly right the way that it happened inside this movie. You've got a psychiatrist who's coming out to the field, and you have a meteorologist who is going to explain it to the psychiatrist. I thought that was a perfect explanation. I didn't think it was exposition. It was
Isn't she from there? She's never seen a tornado before?
No,
all
she's
these
not.
people from Oklahoma.
Yeah, no.
She's not from Oklahoma. Her accent sure sounded like it.
I don't. Well, it was a shit accent, but but here's the thing. She's a psychologist. Why would she care about whether, yes, we get tornadoes, but he's explaining why this is important.
If you live in Tornado Alley, you care about tornadoes. It doesn't matter what your job is.
Yes, you care that they're coming, but what they're talking about is predicting and learning how tornadoes are formed and made, and that's what they exposited on. I think that's the word. Like that's what they talked about. They gave the information to her, and by giving it to her, they gave it to us, who may not be knowledgeable about such things, because somebody in Alaska probably has never had it or experienced a tornado. So they're like, oh God, that's really interesting.
I don't think anybody loves that scene.
I do.
I also felt like...
Now I do. It's going to be my favorite scene from now on. Hold on while I change things.
Spiteful. I feel like the whole Jonas death section is very cavalierly handled. I felt like they should have teamed up at the end. Like, to just have him have like a Final Destination death was cheap. And I wanted more of that jousting between their two teams. It's like they introduced him for no reason and killed him for no reason. And I just thought that was inappropriate.
He was the only speaking foil to the main characters. Right?
They had to have an antagonist.
And
they're each other's antagonists.
I mean, nature could be the antagonist.
Anything. Yeah. He didn't add anything to the story.
He
didn't raise the stakes in any way.
You could have completely removed him from the movie, and they still would have gotten Dorothy to
an
fly.
amazing movie. Yes, exactly. And I don't disagree with that. And
I don't understand why he was a shit for wanting to like make money off of his job. Like, I don't think that makes you a bad person.
He wasn't a shit for that. He was a shit because he stole the idea.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I do agree with that.
Look,
but
man,
like,
this is not how science works.
Sponsors. He's got a fancy truck. He deserves to die in a tornado.
So having done science for a long time, it's actually kind of like that, where you've got like the scrappy underdogs that are going to go out and they're like, they want to prove this theory and they've built this thing. And then you get like this other guy who comes in here who's a douchebag and says, oh, well, that's a cool idea. I'm just going to make mine square and call it DOT, short for Dorothy. But we'll call it something else. And then we go out there and they schmooze the crowd. They're a better public facing figure and everything like that. So they get all the public funding for it. And while the scrappy guys who are actually probably doing the harder and better science get left by the wayside, and this other guy who's a schmuck who can barely do science, as we've seen through the entire movie. Hell, he doesn't even know which way a damn tornado is going to move, because you got tornado whisperer Bill Paxton sitting there going like, it's going to move to the left. I mean, like,
he sniffed the dirt. He knew.
Yeah, oh my God, did he ever sniff it?
It's Tesla and Edison.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Could the whole thing be kind of a jab at corporate sponsorship? Because they did kind of have a subtle joke in there, and that feeds back to the whole Pepsi thing.
It really, I mean, honestly, it really could be, because like, I mean, that's just how science is. I mean, like, whoever gets better funded. If you ever read any of the research that's out there, like when back in the day when Exxon, the Valdez oil spill happened, I was doing a peer-reviewed journal thing. It was funny to find two diametrically opposed papers that talked about the same disaster, and one said, "Oh, it's not all that bad," and the other one said, "Oh no, oh my God, the world's going to end." And you look at who paid for them for those studies, and it's amazing that you can make the same numbers say different things. So I've seen it. I mean, this shit happens all the time. I just like, for me, the only reason I think that Carrie Ellis ever existed in this movie was to have a speaking antagonist other than a tornado that goes, right? That's it. That's the only reason he existed in the whole movie. And I think that it felt like two diametrically opposed writers. Again, goes to your fact of having these different writers touch this. You have Joe and Bill trying to tell him, like, dude, you have got to listen to us. You are about to die. And he's like, I don't care. I'm going right in because I'm going to be the first one to make this science work. And then off he goes. So, I mean, while I agree that he does not need to exist for any part of this movie.
You're telling me that Eddie is not going to hit the brakes? Like,
no, he got no.
There is no way if I'm driving and I'm in control of that truck.
I bet he was going for those
I'm
brakes
not
when
hitting the brakes and telling Carrie Ellis to go pound sand.
I guarantee you that he was reaching for those brakes when he got Final Destination. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. His foot was going towards that brake, and it was just like, I'm gonna punch you with 2 feet, and he was like, boom, dead. And then Jonas goes flying up.
I just feel like if you're gonna have him there, it could have been more interesting.
It was the 90s.
I don't like being cavalier with killing people, so I don't think.
Well, it wasn't cavalier. He threw himself into it, so really, you could say he committed suicide and murder at the same time.
With him.
Yeah, but that was murder. It was a murder-suicide.
They needed that in there to raise the stakes at the end of the film for the climax for Bill and Joe. They needed that scene in there to show what could really happen to one of these tornado chasers if they messed up. And it was a plot point. It was, a plot point.
I'm about to agree with Amber.
I am actually going to go with Team Amber on this one and say that the science, look, here's how science works, okay? You come up with an idea, and then you write a paper about it, and then you test it. And then maybe if you're lucky, you publish it in a peer-reviewed journal that people read. Then you get funding, then you get grants, then you get sponsorships. But right now, you don't own trademarks and copyrights. It's public domain. Anybody who reads that journal can come along and copy your research. And so that's what Carrie Ellis did. He copied his research. Did he steal it? I don't think he stole it. I think he just acquired it without any original idea of his own. But that's how science works, man. You go back through history and you look at all of this. Like I said before, Tesla versus Edison, historically, science has always been about adversarial competition to see who gets to the point first.
I feel like I'm playing D&D with physicists right now. Are you sure that arrow can go that way? There's wind resistance coming this way. Let's do some math. I have watched this happen in my life. Continue on. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I'm not getting into physics, okay?
But it's a tornado.
Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a physicist.
Well played, sir. Well played.
I didn't like the portrayal of how reckless the team was in the face of danger. I don't think real tornado chasers are that reckless. They had wanton disregard for their own safety and literally driving into the heart of a tornado. I think that was probably done for dramatic effect. And here's two other things I don't like about this. Number one, I think Bill Paxton was sort of a douche to his fiancée. He clearly still had feelings for Joe, and he even said that over a CB radio. He brought her along on a ridiculously dangerous expedition and put her life in jeopardy. So I think Bill Paxton was kind of a douche. But my big thing is at the end of the movie when they are facing the F5 tornado and they go into this little shack and they leather strap themselves to iron pipes and they're being sucked up into the air and everything around them is obliterated. Now, this reminds me of a Ron White comedy stand-up routine that was a few years ago where he talked about people standing in hurricane winds. And he said, and I quote, "It's not that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing."
Yep.
They would have been shredded to pieces by debris in a microsecond. There is no way they would have survived being in the heart of an F5 tornado at
I'm
all.
sorry, sir. They had leather straps around them. That was their protection. Have you never played Fallout with the leather armor?
What?
That's how it works.
They had leather armor.
Yes.
Well, hold on. Is this like, 2.5, 3.0?
It's a DR7, I think. So they were fine. It was holy water inside them pipes, my friend.
Oh.
That's like at the beginning, the dad like places all of the protection of his family in this storm shelter on a 50-cent little slide bolt lock. Like they had freaking technology back in the 60s. Like,
yeah, called a slide bolt, an actual metal slide bolt that
he
was
could have put like a padlock or something on. I don't know.
So I will tell you the one thing that I disliked about this movie, and honestly, I was reaching for some things on this one, but okay. So do you remember the scene when Bill Paxton started arming Dorothy 1, and it took him like, I don't know, 5 minutes to twist knobs, push buttons, flip switches, crawl out, go behind, open up a circuit breaker box, and do something else? At the end, when they got to the 4th Dorothy, all that happened was Helen Hunt went outside, flipped the switch, and got back and says, "Okay, we're ready." I was so annoyed by that. Like, I mean, genuinely so annoyed, because it's like you built 4 of them at the same time. It's not like these are 4 separate iterations. Like, this is Dorothy 1 we built 5 years ago to Dorothy 4 that we built today. No, these are all built at the same time, so they all have to be activated the same way. Where was the 5-minute like driving down the road with hanging out the thing and flipping switches? And I was genuinely kind of annoyed by that today. I watched it, I was like, well, son of a bitch. Like, why is it taking you why did you build it so that it would take this long to do this? You've got a tornado bearing down on you. Like, why isn't it like the end one, which you just go flip and it's like ready to go, Whee!
Well, she can't help it if the man couldn't figure out how to make the machine work and
men
find the
just like
button.
to make it harder. Men just like to make it harder.
Men
okay?
can't find the button. We know this, so
we already know this. There are books written about that. I mean, for the love of
yourselves.
Okay.
I have one more that you're gonna love.
Okay, go for it.
It shows you how good this. It shows you how good this movie is, that I'm willing to watch it because Jeremy Davies is in it, and I will not watch anything that schmuck is in.
Remind me who Jeremy Davies. Which one Jeremy Davies is? What was his role?
I don't even know his character name. He's the one that was hiding in the truck at the
that
drive-in.
Pissant? Yeah, that pissant.
He got 5 men killed in Saving Private Ryan, and then this idiot like almost gets our whole crew killed again in this movie. Like, I hate him so much. Every time I see him, I'm like, ooh, the coward. No,
yeah,
he's
exactly.
Bad. Make him
he plays
go away.
a good coward, right? He does play a good coward.
I hate him so much. So that's like my big petty. I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Eric or Dana, do either of you have something to say about No Sir, I Don't Like It?
Yeah, I had a couple things, and they all revolved around Bill's truck. Amber, you had mentioned
the Magic
earlier.
Dodge.
Yeah, the Dodge Ram. Yeah, the regenerating windshield.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just when the farm equipment hit it. There was actually like 2 or 3 scenes where there's a crack down the middle, cut back to the windshield, fixed.
Yep.
Cut back to the windshield, fixed, smashed, cut back to the windshield, fixed. It was like, it was like the moon roof from Jurassic Park, for crying out loud.
Hey, baby, safe light.
Yeah, the magic regenerating the windshield there. And did anyone else notice that the truck cap just magically disappeared? I mean, I know they took it to put Dorothy in there, but
where'd it go?
They just like tossed it on the side of the road. Like,
I'm sure they did.
Didn't keep it. Although I did
remember, he only had liability, so he didn't
have to say that.
Liability.
That was a great joke.
That was a good one.
But there was some continuity errors. I was like,
yes.
Oh, I see that.
Yes, there were.
Why are you smiling like that?
I just like to smile. Smiling's my favorite.
Make work your favorite. That's your favorite, okay?
Okay.
Work is your new favorite.
Fine.
All right. Well, if that is it for everybody, let's move on to Smiling's my favorite with your favorite scene from the movie. We'll put you last, Amber. Dana, you go.
Uh, I like the was that breakfast or something, the scene at Meg's where everyone's just sitting around the table. You got that good wholesome country breakfast, steak, eggs, mashed potatoes, and gravy, and then they get into this wonderful story about Bill being naked, holding a bottle of Jack Daniels, and saying, "Have a drink."
It was,
and it never hits the ground.
That was honestly, I'm going to jump in here too, because that was also my favorite scene, because it was just such a, I mean, if you ever done field work with people, that is exactly how it is. You are all far too close for comfort. You are just comfortable with one another. It doesn't matter. And you have all of these stories that have happened over the time that you spent together. And it really came through during that scene. I know that I know some of the information I saw when I was like really diving deep. They said that it was based on, I think, Steven Spielberg or somebody. They were out with a grad group that's what they were doing, was tornado chasing and stuff. And I felt that in this scene. They all have the stories. Like Dusty said, like, "Oh yeah, gravy. It should be its own food group," and he's just fishing it out to Melissa, and it just, the whole scene was just so comfortable, and he's treating her just like he would any of the other, like, poor group. Just like, "Oh, you got to have this. This is so good," and everybody's talking, and then the story of Bill comes out, and he's like, "No, no, 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 don't tell it," but they tell it, and it's just like, I mean, he jumps right in. It was such a natural scene to me that it really stands out as one of the, like, for me, one of the best scenes out of the movie, outside of chase scenes or tornado scenes. It just was probably some of the best dialogue, I think, in the movie, to be perfectly honest. Okay, Amber, I lied. You go next.
Okay. Following right along, when they leave Meg's to drive to the third tornado.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the banter. I love Alan Ruck's character navigating for them as they're going on these, side roads and whatever. And, Liam and I, when we go on vacation, we don't take the interstate.
Yep.
We take back roads because you get
Where
to
you find the
like
cool
see
shit.
things, and we quote that scene every trip. It's like Bob's Road.
Turn left at the brush. What's behind the brush? What do you mean? Yeah, I agree with you. That's also a very good scene. Eric, what about you, buddy?
Okay, my favorite scene is the drive-in tornado scene. I mean, it was a good action scene, but what I really loved was the juxtaposition of the film on the drive-in screen, The Shining, when the tornado hits. When the
What a great choice.
When the screen starts to demolish itself from the tornado, you've got Jack Nicholson pounding through the bathroom wall, here's Johnny.
Yes.
I mean, I thought that was a great visual play on imagery, that in the movie he was destroying a building, and in real life the drive-in theater was being destroyed.
Yeah.
And I really liked that whole action sequence when they were running into the shelter and going underground and the cars were flying. I mean, I know it was just cheesy last action hero kind of stuff, but I love that.
It still gets you going.
That was my
doesn't it?
favorite scene.
Yeah. It was that was a very good scene. I mean, I'm with you. Like, I mean, there's not a lot about this movie that I don't like. There's a few things that take me out, and I've already mentioned my biggest one, but I genuinely like this movie. I'm looking for an easy action movie. I'm probably gonna watch Twister or something else, right? I mean, something along those lines.
Another thing I noticed in that scene is when Joe comes up to the window at the snack shack, she orders like 8 coffees. Like, she's looking up for the crew. And then Bill comes up and he's like, 2 coffees. Like, I just want one for me and my girl.
Yeah. Because he's still trying to keep his girl.
You don't like Bill very much.
I do, but I think his motivations are misplaced.
A little bit. All right, so this is the time when I'm going to ask everybody, what's your favorite character from the movie? And Amber, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't cheat just a little. It's Bill and Joe together. Like, they are...
That's a fair cheat, though.
Great team. Like, I really don't feel like you can separate them from each other. I love when they bicker, during the first chase, and one of the other chasers is like, I think they're getting better at this.
Yes. That was hysterical.
They're two really great actors and, two really fun, complicated characters. And so I have to take them as a team.
Okay. That's a fair cheat. We will allow
Let it
that.
slide.
Yeah. Eric, how about you, buddy? Who's your favorite character?
I don't remember his character's name, but it's Philip Seymour Hoffman. And the reason I like Philip Seymour Hoffman, because to me, he was this, blend of Shaggy and Guy Fleetman from Galaxy Quest and Sheldon Cooper. And no matter what happened around this guy, he was just oblivious. And every time something got destroyed and obliterated, he was like, hey guys, there's this blip on the map and there's another tornado. We should probably go now.
That would be Dusty.
It would be Dusty.
Yeah, that's Dusty. Yeah,
Dusty. I love Dusty. He is just the greatest uninvolved but totally involved character, I think.
What a great debut, just to come exploding off the screen like that.
Yeah.
So Bill said it best when he introduced Melissa and Dusty. He goes, Dusty, why don't you explain to Melissa why you are the way you are?
That was so good. And then he walks away and I'm like, oh man, dude, you just threw her under the bus twice.
And he is always just giving her the raw data and it's freaking her out. It reminded me a little bit of the Wayne's World scene where the crew member looks at the wife of the head producer and says, do I scare you? Do you want me to?
Yep. No,
I think that's just Philip Seymour Hoffman. He just plays a great.
He's my favorite by far.
Oh yeah, no, he's fabulous. What about you, Dana? Who was your favorite character?
So I had to say, Eric, thank you for mentioning Dusty. He was my backup. My favorite character, actually, Melissa.
I hate you all. You all have taken mine.
Sit and watch her throughout the movie. She is continuously and just about every scene just unendingly terrorized through this entire film, and she rolls with it until she finally leaves. Yep. I mean, I honestly think you can make an alternative title of this movie and call it How Long Until Melissa Shits Herself.
Yep. Exactly.
And it wasn't the natural disaster of the tornado that made her leave. It was the romantic betrayal of Bill.
Yeah.
She survived the natural disaster, but the emotional disaster was, you know what? I'm done. I'm out. I'm gone.
I just love the scene where the truck falls right in front of her.
Yes.
And then she stops, and when Dusty gets her out of the car, she's just like screaming and hyperventilating at the same time.
I would actually say that she's probably the strongest character just because of all that. I mean, she finally said, I'm done. I mean, the other people have been dead, just have been so subdued by all the damage that's around them that she's like, I'm done. I'm out. Tag, you're it. I'm peace. Okay.
And throughout the whole thing, she's talking to her patients on the phone, be calm. Everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. This is a natural thing. And she's got, Reaper machines falling out of the sky, trucks exploding in front of her, tornadoes touching down, and she's just like, oh, I'm going to be on the phone with my patient. No big deal.
I will say that I had 3 characters down, and you have all 3 taken them. I took Dusty as my final because I thought nobody's choosing Dusty because he's such a small bit character. Yeah, never mind.
I almost chose Alan Ruck. Choose him.
Rabbit was great.
Yes,
I mean, no,
Rabbit.
I liked Rabbit, but he was not the one I was like. Dusty, I love Dusty because he's absolutely the kind of character. I mean, I agree with you. He's kind of like that Shaggy character. Baymax, he would have been Freddy, right?
Yes.
Where he's he's the kind of character that I kind of gravitate towards. He's so carefree. So I'm just going to skip the character part since all of mine were taken. I'm going to start with a quote part so I can at least get my quote in. And it's Melissa.
Donald, this feeling of inadequacy is coming from you. Julia doesn't resent you. We've talked about this before. She did not marry your penis. Oh, okay, all right. She didn't only marry your penis.
Was one of the best damn lines in this movie. It makes me laugh every time because the way that she acted out, the whole thing, and everything that's going on around this at the same time. I was just like, this is hysterical. This is the way it's so diametrically opposed to what's going on around her. It just makes me laugh literally every single time. It's so good. So good. Let's see here. Dana, why don't you go? What's a good quote that you like from this movie?
All right, so John, you took my number one. So
yes, I knew I needed to go
this
first.
would happen. I have a couple other ones here. So the next one is a situational kind of a joke. It's after the first tornado, it sucks up her Jeep truck. Surprisingly.
Where's my truck? There it is.
Wait, are you dissing on Jeeps? Come on now.
No, yeah, I diss on Jeeps all the time.
I drive a Jeep Wrangler. No, I'm not dissing on Jeeps at all. I'm just saying a Jeep truck.
Right.
That's like wow. That's going back into an old vehicle.
It is.
But the line, it was just the delivery of
delivery.
There it is. And
there it is.
Almost like it's almost like she could have been like, oh my God, she almost hit it. She's like, oh no, she missed it. All right. Oh, there's my truck. And it's like,
oh yeah. Well, and she's so calm about it because it landed roof down. So it was just like, oh, there it is. I'm like, holy shit. Cool. Yeah, that was such a great delivery of that line.
And then she nonchalantly just goes up to the door and rips it open and grabs her stuff out of the inside and walks away.
What kind of insurance do you have on that truck?
Better than liability.
Yeah, right? Oh my God, Amber, what was a good quote that you had from this movie?
From my favorite scene, I die every time Bill Paxton says,
yeah, we see the brush. What's beyond that?
Beyond what?
Beyond what?
The brush.
Beyond
A brick wall.
brush.
Bearded lady. What?
That's so good. I was having like, because I mean, the whole tension between him and Rabbit over this TV, and there, it was just, oh my God, that scene is so good. Okay, sorry, I'm collecting myself. Eric, how about you, buddy?
My favorite quote. I'm so glad nobody picked this. I was worried that people were going to pick this. My favorite quote is at the end. I think it's the end of the movie when they are trying to get the last Dorothy released. There's a cow in the wind.
Cow. I gotta go, Julia. We got cows. Another cow.
Actually, I think that was the same one.
The same cow.
That was another one of my backups.
Yep. My last backup I had was because that was also in my list. The other one I had was like when they're driving down the road and that F5 rolls that house across the road in front of them. He goes, I think we're going in. I was just like, it was so over dramatically like I think we're going in. And they just like crashed his house. That was a pretty good one too. I enjoyed. I love this movie. Like this is just such a fun movie. Does anybody have a favorite natural disaster movie other than Twister? Amber?
So I just kind of picked one because I love disaster movies.
Mhm.
Like, give it to me. The Towering Inferno, the Poseidon Adventure, like I'm there. I love them. But the one that I picked, I want to give a shout out to a movie from the director of the Poseidon Adventure, but it's not Poseidon Adventure, starring Sean Connery and Natalie Wood from 1979, Meteor.
Oh,
I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you.
Can I have that as a natural disaster?
I know
was
you were
worried
questioning
you
that, but I'll give that to you. Yeah, for sure.
It's so good.
Well, it's Sean Connery. Come on.
Right? And you don't get Deep Impact or Armageddon without it.
Exactly.
Now, did he or did he not have the toupee in that movie?
I think that was before. He still had his hair, I think.
Yeah. No, he never
That
had
was
hair.
1979, if I'm correct.
He had
that's his hair.
as Bond. Like he never had hair.
That's his hair.
Darby O'Gill and the Little People was the last time that man had hair.
I'll have to watch this. I've never seen this, so
It's on Tubi.
Okay.
And it is it's got a great cast like Carl Malden and
Natalie Wood, I think, too.
Natalie Wood. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to give this a watch. Like I just haven't seen it. I know of it, but I've just never seen it. But yeah, I would count this as a natural disaster movie. Why wouldn't you?
This is what I'm saying.
Okay, Eric, what about you? I thought you raised your hand.
Well, Team Amber kind of picked a couple of my movies.
She didn't pick it.
She mentioned the Poseidon Adventure, but I don't want to follow in her footsteps. So I'm going to actually say my favorite natural. Well, when you say natural disaster, we're not talking like the Towering Inferno was not a natural disaster. So I'm not going to include that. I'm going to say it has to be Dante's Peak.
Oh, nice one.
Oh, I
that's
love
a good
that
movie.
one.
Grandma
Yes, it was one of those. It was one of those dual releases with the Tommy Lee Jones Volcano movie that came out at the same time. But I actually think that Dante's Peak was much better. It was like real life.
It was very gruesome.
The smart scientist is telling everybody what's going to happen, but the dumb townspeople don't listen. And then the smart scientist is right in the end, and bad things happen. But I thought Dante's
Shades
Peak,
of Mount St. Helens in 1982.
What?
yes, very, very much like that. So my favorite natural disaster movie has to go to Dante's Peak with a backup of the Poseidon Adventure, the original, not the remake.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, of course. Dana, yourself. I think I know what you might be picking.
I don't know. You might not, but Eric, I will say on the flip side, I did like Volcano better.
I did too.
Nothing more or less than I'm not saying I did not like Dante's Peak. I just thought Volcano was more entertaining.
Yes.
On that.
I like the resolution with the cement barricade thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And had that little quirky at the end because like at the beginning they were doing that little like the little like coding it, and then all of a sudden they say, "Oh, Mount Sinai active." They had a little lightheartedness at the end of it. But no,
I will, Dana. I will give you that Volcano was a much better action movie, and it had a better pacing. Dante's Peak did drag in some places.
Yeah,
it had a lot of drag.
I liked both. Like I will watch both equally. But I will edge it out to the Tommy Lee. I like Tommy Lee a little better, and it was a bit more entertaining.
The subway scene in Volcano, where he has to walk through the burning lava.
Oh my God!
They tried to recreate that in Dante's Peak, where I believe it was the grandmother has to walk through the acid water.
Yep.
So that was sort of a parallel scene. But I think I'm going to go with Dana on this one. Yeah, I think Volcano did that better, but I still like Dante's Peak.
What is your actual pick, Dana, for your disaster movie?
So my favorite disaster movie, the kickstart of it, I couldn't say would be natural, but what happened afterwards, absolutely natural. And this is going to reflect on a lot of current events, but I'm going to go with Outbreak.
Yeah.
Outbreak. Oh, yes.
Yes.
No, I would 100% consider that a natural disaster.
Because the virus wasn't, it was lab created.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm not going to say, I have no idea where COVID came from, blah, blah, I'm not jumping on any of those conspiracy theories, but the actual spread, the outbreak, it just washing over that town. I was like, wow.
That is a good choice.
Parallel 19, 20, and 21. Perfect.
Yeah. Wow.
That movie is why I still wear a mask when I go to the movie theater. Because there's that scene where the woman like sneezes.
Yep.
And you get like the close up of the water droplets like moving through the air. And it grossed me out so bad.
Oh my gosh.
And the chemistry between Dustin Hoffman and Cuba Gooding Jr. was amazing.
It was just a good movie. I mean, it was. Oh my God, what a good choice, Dana. Man, that's a good one.
Yeah, and I also love the pairing of like Donald Sutherland and Morgan Freeman. That was just that was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dana wins this round. Ding, ding, ding.
I know. No shit. Now I feel embarrassed about mine, but I'm gonna do it. Mine is 2012. with John Cusack and Christopher and Chi Will. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try it. I screw that name up all the time.
Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you that you know people.
I do know things.
I know you do. And Amanda Peet, Oliver Platt. It was. I don't know.
Is that the one with like tornadoes in LA or something?
No, it's the one where the end of the world is happening, and
It was about the Mayan calendar.
Yeah, where
I
the end of the
haven't seen
world.
this one. I have to watch it.
Really? So it's.
It's awesome.
He starts off like he's got to get back to his kids. He's driving a limo. He gets his kids. He tries to make it to an airport. He makes it to an airport. He tries to fly, but then the end of the world is happening, and the whole continent basically falls away below him as he and this Russian guy are flying off into the air. And then they have to try and make it to the arcs that they've made, where like civilization is going to be lived. I mean, I like the movie. I mean, it's heart pounding. There are funny moments in it.
Woody Harrelson is great.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson is great in this
Oh
movie.
yes.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie. It's not a bad movie. Does that make sense?
Disaster movies, by definition, like
I mean, well, look at San
you're not
Andreas.
getting Shakespeare here.
I mean,
The
San
whole
Andreas was my
Yellowstone
second.
explosion was just incredible.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was great CGI. It was great. I mean, it was very good. It had a story plot line, and it was moved along. Like there's no MacGuffin in this. The MacGuffin is the Earth blowing up behind him as he's trying to make it to what's called the Ark. So this was my top disaster movie because it's something that if I see it on, I'm gonna go find it streaming somewhere so I can watch the full version. Like I want to watch all of it. My secondary one was going to be San Andreas just because I like The Rock, as evidenced by my The Rock episode. I like Dwayne. Okay, I really enjoy him.
So I enjoyed 2012. It was a niche one because it came out. What year did that come out?
2012.
2012. Okay, I thought it came out a couple years before.
Oh no, I'm sorry. 2009. 2009.
All right, yeah. The because it kind of played in the whole Mayan calendar. My only thing that I sit back and after I watched it a couple times, I sat back and I'm like, it's just trying to one up itself the entire movie. Right, so this is bad. All right, now next time we got to make it worse, and let's make it worse. And it's like, okay, at some point, when does this kind of crest and kind of move into resolution?
And now you understand the type of movies that I enjoy. So you're welcome. I want fun movies. This is escapism for me. I don't want something that sits down and makes me. It's like you must think about how deep I'm thinking, and then think deeper. I hate movies like that. That's not my kind of movie. I want something I can just sit there and go,
there's a time and a place for movies like that.
There are, and they're never in my life. That's why I don't watch them. Like they're just not there for me. I seriously, I want movies that help me escape. I don't want movies that make me think. Like, just I don't. It's not my thing at all. Okay. I'm very shallow. Okay, you all found out.
Not.
Well, I know I'm not. I just
a certain type of entertainment that you prefer.
I do. When I'm entertained, I want that. Now, I will watch TV shows that go way deeper, right? Because to me, that's the more investure of my time. Is I watch TV a lot more. So I like episodics. I can watch it, and it gets a deep story, and I get deep feelings for characters and stuff like that. To me, a movie is just like, okay, I've spent 2 hours to watch this very entertaining thing. I want that to be entertaining. I do not want to have to think about it. Like I want to enjoy it for what it is. All right. Does anybody have anything else they would like to say about Twister the movie?
I mean, it's a fun summer movie.
It really is,
does
right?
What it's supposed to do, yeah.
Yeah, it entertains us. It gives us some jokes. It gives us some laughs. And it reminds us that some people live in tornado alleys and some people are just lucky enough to live in, like, I don't know, ice wastelands like Alaska. So I hope I don't offend anybody from Alaska. I've been there. It's not bad. It's kind of beautiful. Anyhow, let us just take a moment for a little promo break. I'm sure Dayton has somebody he wants to plug.
Okay, Jason, test of our friendship. Which is better, Van Halen or Van Hagar?
Man, honestly, I think Van Hagar has better music.
Oh, no. It's Van Halen. You're wrong.
What about Michael Jackson's Bad album versus Michael Jackson's Thriller album?
Thriller, obviously. Bestseller, ever.
No. See, people trick themselves into believing that it's actually bad.
Okay, Trading Places versus Coming to America.
Trading Places is the funnier movie out of this deal.
No, Coming to America is the funniest movie of all time. So if you find yourself backing one of us or the other of us, you need to be listening to the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast.
That's right. We have a friendly discussion. Dee and I are best buddies, and we take a deep dive and look at the behind-the-scenes stuff, the history and the fun facts of all these wonderful movies and music from our youth.
It's really just an opportunity for us to geek out about the things that we really loved growing up.
For example, do you know the actor that was in Star Wars, Batman 89, and Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah, sure, it's Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford wasn't in Batman.
Oh, yeah, Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams was not in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Who was it?
Well, you've got to tune in to the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast when we discuss Raiders of the Lost Ark versus Back to the Future to find out the answer.
If you like fun, then you're going to love the Beard Owl podcast. It's a podcast where we talk about two of the greatest things in the world, beer and Weird Al. And frankly, we talk more about Weird Al than anything because he's the gift that keeps on giving. So join us as we talk through Weird Al's career, what he means to us, and we have some very special guests on to discuss the magic that is Alfred Matthew Yankovic. Beard Al, part of the Odd Pods Media Network.
And now that Dayton's plugging someone, we're just going to go ahead and move on to our ratings for this film. I couldn't do that with a straight face. Damn it.
I just wish that the people that listen to this podcast could see these videos. Oh my God. John's face right now. He's like a kid in a candy store.
You've been waiting all night to say.
Stop. Take a breath, John.
So I would like everybody to give this a rating of 1 to 5 film reels, or it's a 5-star scale. He likes to use film reels, whatever. So Dana, why don't you give us your 1 to 5 film reels rating?
Okay, so I gotta sum this up. You got some action, wit, drama, all spun together in one of the best movies from the mid-90s. Twister does funnel some good time on the so
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I know. I gotta give this a rating of an F4.
Oh, nice. Nice. Continuing on, Eric, what Fujiyama scale would you give this?
You know what? I think I'm going to have to go with Dana. It's a good, fun movie to watch. And if you can overlook a little bit of the believability of it, but it's an action movie. And I still think that the CGI effects, they were groundbreaking at the time. I still think they kind of hold up with just a few little holes. So I'm going to go with Dana. I'm going to give this an F4. This is a 4-star rating.
I agree.
Almost maybe an F 4.5.
Ooh. Okay, Amber, can you top F 4.5?
I'm gonna agree with the boys. Definitely an F4. It's one of the few movies that I actually physically own a copy of.
Oh, nice.
And we watch it all the time. We quote it all the time. So I nitpick at it, and it's not perfect. Nothing is. But we're here to be critical and have a conversation.
We are.
But I love it, and like I said, we watch it, we quote it. It's great.
I'm with everyone else here. I'll probably closer to Eric. It's like a 4.5 for me. It's an F 4.5. I realize that we've changed the Fujiyama scale, and it's like an EF scale now. Whatever, who cares? We're going with the time frame of 1996. So it's an F 4.5 for me. I really enjoy this movie. I was watching it again today, and I'm just going like, damn, I really like this movie. I've never gone like, I don't want to finish watching this. Every time I'm like, this could be. And I'm with you. I quote it all the time. It's like, oh, cow, we have cows. We do that when we're driving down the road. There's like a lot of cows. You go, cows, we have cows.
It's the same cow.
Right. It's just, oh, damn it. Well, I guess we don't have that many cows, but we have a cow. So first of all, I would like to thank everybody. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate you guys giving your time tonight to talk about like a pretty good doggone movie. I mean, it was a great disaster movie. And I'd like to thank all of our listeners for sitting in and listening to us argue about a movie that really will not care to anybody except for us, because we really love the movie. And if you remember, Please follow us on social media. And we also have a Discord server. You can find that in the show notes. And just like us, follow us, leave us a glowing review. And don't forget, if you want to support us, go ahead and like us on Patreon and support us through that way. And rate and share our podcast through all of your social medias that you guys do use. Apple Podcasts really helps us out, puts us towards the top of that list. And some of our upcoming episodes, we've got Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, The Truman Show, Chicken Run versus Shrek, and Deep Impact versus Armageddon. And as we like to say here at Docking Bay 77, physical media is better than streaming. Watch more movies. Until next time, this has been Docking Bay 77.
The Docking Bay 77 podcast is produced and edited by Dayton Johnson. Recorded with Rode Pod mics, the Zoom PodTrack P4, and edited on Audacity. Opening music provided by Eric Jason Brock. You can find him on YouTube and Bandcamp. Thank you for listening.